even if we had done the whole thing and at the end Anthony was like, I didn't like that, then we can't air the show, you know? So it is, you're taking a leap, but I mean, I think the high wire act of the whole thing is, you know, it's what's the free solo guy, like people like watching him climb a skyscraper because they know there's a danger to it. And I think this show works on several levels, but part of the appeal is you're watching this thing and you're going, there's a chance I'm watching it, so it probably did work out, but there's a chance this whole thing could fall apart. Mm-hmm.
What do you think of seeing it on a big screen?
It's great. For us, it's always a joy to get to watch it with people in the room and feel people experience it. So it's always fun.
Did they laugh in the right places?
Yes. Thank you.
Wherever you laugh is the right place. So there's no wrong place to laugh.
So Anthony, I've got a quick question for you. My car has a flat tire. Would you mind?
Absolutely.
So Jake and Todd, I'll start with you. Obviously, Jury Duty Season 1, tremendous success. Nervous about doing this again for second season? What gave you the confidence that lightning would strike twice?
I mean, yeah, we were a little nervous, but we were nervous before the first season too, and it worked out. So we figured it was worth doing. Yeah, I mean, I think the first season there was the nervousness of can we actually pull this off, and that's its own form of pressure because Amazon had given us a bunch of money and we didn't actually know if we could make the show. Once we made it, we knew we were capable of giving them a show, but the question was for the second season, could we make something that was worthy of the first season? And that's its own form of pressure. And also we knew people would be paying attention this time. The first time we kind of could tell ourselves, well, if it doesn't work, no one's gonna even see it anyway, it'll be fine. But you know, it seems like, you know, people have responded to this season as well, so we're really happy with how it all turned out.
How did you come up with the idea of a company retreat?
Well, we were on our own company retreat.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there was a lot of thought that, you know, in the first season, it was a group of strangers together, and I think there was something fun about having Anthony go into a group that already knew each other, and kind of the idea of, okay, he's gonna become part of the family and try to save them. You know what I mean? And that was more difficult, especially for the cast as well. It's a bigger ask, but that was like part of the fun challenge.
Anthony, how aware of you of this premise? Had you watched season 1 of Jury Duty?
Nah, I'm a YouTube guy. You know, I grew up on social media and stuff like that. At the end, they showed me a picture of Ronald, and he looked so familiar, but no, I hadn't seen season 1.
So what was your introduction to this? What did you think you were getting yourself into?
Yeah, so I applied to a temp company called, can I say what it's? Anywhere Staffing, and basically their motto was just they look for companies all over the U.S. and they they have a temporary need and they fill that need, and it sounded like a good gig to me. You know, make a little bit of money and you get to travel and do different jobs.
I will say Anywhere Staffing has only ever hired one person, and I think they were very satisfied with the experience. So
for sure.
And at any point were you skeptical? At any point did you say, like, this seems crazy to me?
For sure. I feel like I said that a lot of times, right? I even said that I feel like I was on a TV show, but I didn't genuinely think that I was on a TV show, right? Yeah, I had a lot of moments where I was like, yeah, what is going on?
And for you, what was it about Anthony that made him the right person to hire?
There's a lot. I think Anthony, not only we could tell Anthony was a good guy, but he had, I think, confidence in that and confidence in who he was, and you need that too. Someone who's willing to say, no, this is what I think. You know what I mean? Because he's going to kind of be the compass for our cast of crazy characters. So I think we saw that, and also in our interviews, getting ready to hire Anthony, you could just tell he was fun and kind of game. You know what I mean? And we thought that would fit well.
I mean, the other thing I'll say is part of what we thought about after the first season was that we needed someone, seeing what happened to Ronald after the first season came out, we needed someone to be comfortable in these situations that we're in right now, which is, you know, there are some people who maybe would have done a nice job during the actual show component, but you need someone who, they're the face of the show in a lot of ways, and they don't know that they're going to be the face of a TV show. So part of our process was thinking about if this all works out and people are responding to the show, is this person going to be comfortable and well equipped to deal with everything that follows? And obviously, as we can all see, Anthony was.
What were your concerns? Like, what were the things that you learned from the first season that you were going to bring to the second season?
We learned a lot in the first season, and I thought foolishly, oh, this will make the second season a lot easier. And no, it's just as hard because we also made it a lot harder on ourselves. We made the world bigger. You know, Anthony could go wherever he wanted on this 5-acre campus, you know what I mean? And so even though we learned a lot, every season so far has been you're building the tracks while the train is moving. Because no matter how much you think you know, something else comes up. And for it to be worth it to us, it takes a lot of work and a lot of planning. And to be worth it to do another season, you kind of want to think of something that's going to top it or feel like you're pushing yourself. Otherwise, there's not a reason to do it. So, we made it hard on ourselves.
Yeah, it was 3 years between the two seasons, and it wasn't. I mean, we started working on the second season very shortly after the first one concluded, and we all wanted to make it faster than that, but it takes a minute to make a show like this.
What contingency plans did you have in place?
In what sense?
If just like if he didn't work out, if the company retreat didn't work out, like did you have other ideas?
Yeah, I think then the show becomes a documentary about failure.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't like super worried about like Amazon bankruptcy if we failed or anything.
Yes,
but
I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah. No, we talk about all the time. Like even if we had done the whole thing and at the end Anthony was like, I didn't like that, we can't air the show, you know. So it is you're taking a leap, but I mean, I think. The high wire act of the whole thing is, you know, it's what's the free solo guy, like people like watching him climb a skyscraper because they know there's a danger to it. And I think this show works on several levels, but part of the appeal is you're watching this thing and you're going, there's a chance I'm watching it, so it probably did work out, but there's a chance this whole thing could fall apart.
We did build in, this is something we learned from season 1 and we had an opportunity to do. We did build in episode 1, at the end of episode 1, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a moment where Marjorie, who runs the retreat center, you go to her and you kind of say, I don't know what to do. My boss is asking me to lie. I feel like I'm not sure what to do. And she kind of gives him an out. We built in this out moment of like, hey, if you want to leave, I'll support you in that. Like, I'm sure you can leave, or if you want to stay. So we kind of wanted to know early if it wasn't going to work out either. So we kind of wanted to check in with Anthony and say, are you going to buy in here or do you want to get out of here? Because that was early enough that we thought, well, we could shut down for a couple weeks and try to restart it if we need to, but luckily we didn't have to do that.
Anthony, how are you feeling now that it's out in the world and that you've had a chance to reflect on it?
Amazing. I just think that I love being a part of something so positive. You know, all the entertainment that we take in today isn't always the best, so the fact that I can be a part of something that can make people smile and cry and bring families together, I love it. And then just receiving all the love from the world, it's amazing.
What are some of the reactions that you've gotten as it's gotten out in the world? You know, what have people said to you?
You know, that I've restored their faith in humanity. That
You
No pressure.
have.
No pressure.
No, that
One man has saved the world.
the one that means the most to me, and it was really the first gentleman I was on a flight coming out here, and it was the first person to actually come up to me and be like, oh my God, I love you from the show. And he just told me the story about how him and his family watched it, and with me being a family guy, like that's what it's all about to me.
What was going through your head in that finale moment when, you know, obviously everyone just watched the finale. I mean, you kept going. You were not going to let him sign that deal. What gave you, what was going through your head? You were just, so persistent about it.
Yeah, so I'll start from even the beginning. They just made me feel like I was a part of the family, so I felt like I was sticking up for my brothers and my sisters. But then I'll go to the top of the hill. I actually told Alex, like, yo, you got to be the one to do it. He's not going to listen to me. Of course, they weren't going to let that happen. And then we're running, and then he falls, and I'm like, okay, my plan was just to be there to back him up. And then he falls, and I'm like, okay, I have to, on the fly, just not make up something, but connect with him in a way that he'll actually stop and hear me. And I talk about my boy all the time, so immediately that was just what came to my mind, and that's where the father came from.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel a little guilty. When he walked in the door, that was kind of the moment for us watching where we're like, we did it. He's going in. Kind of no matter what happens, it worked. But then Anthony started giving this incredible speech that like moved us all. And so that it went better and bigger, and we're all crying in the control room. It went better than we ever could have hoped. And then the part that Jerry, who played Doug Sr., gives me a hard time for all the time is I don't think we were supposed to let it go that long before Doug said, okay, I'm not going to sign. But the speech you were giving was so incredible that I'm in Doug's ear going, tell him no, tell him you're still going to sign. Because you just kept going and kept telling him how not. And so we pushed it really far and was like, don't do this. And so afterward, Jerry was like, why'd you make me do that to him? Like, it was killing me, man. I thought I was supposed to tear that up right away. But that's an example of like, that's not how we planned that scene to go. But Anthony just was so incredible in that moment. We had to give him runway to do it.
Yeah, man, I don't want y'all to feel any guilt or anything like that in your heart. Let it go. I was blessed to be there.
It was really emotional. I mean, I think that came from such a place of just honesty. And I'm sorry they tortured you so much, but
Torture is not I wouldn't use the word torture.
But it was emotional honesty, and I think it really worked for the moment. Can you speak, were there other moments like that throughout the season that sort of played out differently than you expected just because of who Anthony is?
I mean, every moment in the show is really reflective of who Anthony is. You know, like we have a blueprint. Obviously, we have outlines for every episode, but the specifics of each kind of individual moment are determined by how Anthony reacts and what he says. So I don't know, Jake. I can't think of anything.
Actually, you know what? One we were just talking about. So we snuck in. We were in the back during that last like behind the scenes episode, rewatching, and I turned to Anthony. And I said, "This was the biggest surprise. We didn't count on this." During the fight with Kate and Elizabeth, we had spent so much time worrying about if Anthony runs over and tries to help Elizabeth, how do we keep him away so we can apply the blood? But Anthony was so invested in his Rocking Grandma's team with Kate winning that he was just like, yes! And like clapping and like didn't care that Elizabeth got hit. And that was actually like, it worked great. And that was a big surprise as well. You know what I mean? And it's another one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't always go how it goes in a sitcom, but it's more real and more genuine and feels even better at the end of the day.
I will say, yeah, like once we got to know Anthony, I think one of the things we were worried about was we had this big event, the decathlon, and he's supposed to throw this event. And we were like, Anthony's like a really competitive guy. I don't know. He might like, he's the nicest person in the world, but I don't know if he's gonna be willing to throw an event. Like his belief in sports integrity might prevent him from doing this. But luckily his humanity won out. So
I don't know if y'all could tell, but I really didn't want to let him win. But I was like, I'll let him have it.
It's just, there's writing that goes into it, and I think it's deceptive. Obviously it plays out as sort of like an improv thing, but there is writing. Can you talk about some of the moments you scripted and then how that all played out on screen?
A surprising amount of, I think to most people, it's not surprising to us, but to most people, you'd be surprised if you look at the scripts and compared it to the final show, how accurate it is to the script. There's a lot of, obviously, we have to break the season, we have to break the episodes, we have to make everything work, and all the characters have to have arcs and development. There's a lot of improv in kind of how we get there sometimes, but we have written jokes. We know this is a big joke setup, so get to here. As long as you get to here, then someone can say the setup line and someone can say the joke line. So there's a lot of like, oh, you might go the zig or you might zag, but we know where we're starting. We know the 3 lines we have to hit in the middle, and we know where we're ending. So we might get there 10 different ways, but the show still, and every scene kind of still ends up as written.
yeah, the show's kind of written from like the outside in some ways, where we literally started the process going. We decided we want to do a company retreat, and the first thing we knew was we wanted it to end like an 80s. Thanks, Anthony. We wanted it to end.
See?
This is what he does. We wanted to end like an 80s movie with like the hero running in the room and stopping the bad evil corporation from signing the bad deal. And then everything from there became, okay, well, if we're gonna do that, we need a bad company. Why is the bad company coming? Well, why is he selling the company? Oh, it must be his son. And so the show gets smaller and smaller in the writing from that first big decision in some ways.
Anthony, what moment surprised you the most when you realized that, now looking back on it, what moments stood out for you when you realized like, oh, this was a scripted moment that had been laid out for you?
Honestly, I would just say all the Trucus moments where they were wild and crazy, and I think those are the moments where I was like, I should have known. But also like, so me and Jimmy, we were doing his show for the talent show. And we were doing a mix-up of an Eminem song, and then one of the producers came out there and was like, "Yo, we can't do that. We don't have the copyrights." And then Sia comes in, and all the camera guys are making sure to get all of that. So that was one moment where I was like, "Well, what happened?"
All right, so we have to talk about Sia. How did that happen? How did you book Sia? Where did that come from?
She's actually has a relationship. Dave Bernat, who's another one of the executive producers who can't, he also produces White Lotus, so he's in Italy living a good life, making that show.
Oh, let's all cry for him right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But he had a relationship, a previous relationship. He knew Sia, and so because the thing is, we knew we needed a celebrity, but we also don't want to put out we're trying to keep this show very quiet. So it's a lot about who can we personally reach out to that might be up for doing something like that. And Sia was game, and she was fantastic.
And she had been a fan of season 1, so she knew of the show and was like, "Oh yes, I'd like to take part in that," which is helpful. Anytime you're trying to explain what it is, it sounds crazy. So we needed someone who had seen season 1.
We after season 1, we're literally keeping track of what celebrities said they liked the show in case we need them down the road.
Did you ever worry that was going to push it too far, that it was going to be like a bridge too far for it?
Yeah, we worry about that every day, but not even the big stuff. I mean, we worry that we have to distract Anthony and someone asks for a second lunch, and we worry that's going to break the show. We worry about everything. We're probably too worried that everything's going to break the show.
We saw a little bit of the tease of the reunion with Ronald. Can you talk a little bit about your reunion with Ronald and what he shared with you?
He just really, he didn't. I asked him. I said, now that you have somebody that's been through this with you, what can I do for you? And he was like, you know what? I've handled anything that may have came from this. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. So I really look at him as a big brother. But for the most part, I just kind of expressed to him the waiting period from wrap to it actually came out was kind of stressful for me, just because you don't know what they filmed or what they cut together, and you don't really get to see that till it comes out. So we spoke about some of those things and how to deal with it.
And what advice did he give you?
Just to be patient, and reminded me that I have a great group of people around me and to lean on them.
And now that you've pulled off The Impossible twice, are you thinking about a season 3?
I mean, they announced it, I guess we have to.
They announced that they will let us think about a way to try to do a season 3.
I apologize if I burned anywhere staffing. That's why I didn't want to say it. I was like, y'all are using it again.
Yeah. No, you're good. No, I mean, it took 3 years to make this. I'm sure the next season will take a very long time too if we end up doing it. And so we're still kind of in the moment of even though it's been out for a couple months now, still enjoying this being out in the world. But at some point we will, really lean into focusing our attention towards a potential season 3, and we'll see what that is.
What did you learn? What are your? I want to take a step back. Obviously, we saw a close call in this. Can you share any other close call stories that happened?
You want to talk about the
hypnotist
show?
Yeah, sure. So we I think it's episode 5. I think I think episode 5 is Hypnotist, and they go out to this restaurant, and there's a hypnotist performs, and everything was going great. All the storylines are going exactly as we planned, but the hypnotist, it was a real hypnotist we had brought out to do this scene, and he had a bunch of cue cards, and at one point, the cue cards were on a table or something, and Anthony picked them up, and we didn't know what was on these cue cards, and we suddenly started to panic that he had written, because we'd given him his outline for basically what he needed to do in this scene. And we're like, if his note cards say get Anthony on stage, get him to say this, then Anthony, we're watching Anthony look at these cue cards and going through them, and we're like, oh my God, this is he's seeing the blueprint of our show, the whole thing is gonna blow. So myself and Jake and Nick Hatton, another producer, were all staring at Anthony on the monitor, as he's reading this, being is he seem like he's freaked out? I think he's freaked out. We're panicking, and then eventually we caught word that the cue cards literally just had very basic hypnotist instructions for himself. So we were totally in the clear. But it's moments like that, you have no way of intervening. You can watch your show blow up and there's nothing you can do about it. You have to just hope for the best.
Can you each share a favorite moment from the season as you look back on it?
I mean, the ending, it really is the ending when Anthony runs in to stop the signing. I think that is my favorite moment. It blows me away. But there's a lot of favorite moments, but that's the biggest one for me.
I would go with also in that same area is Stephanie Hodge, who Anthony shares a special connection with and has a couple of conversations with. On the day we did it, we were all crying, and then I hadn't heard the thing she talks to him about, after their group interview where she says, if I had a son, I hope he'd be just like you. And he says, I think he'd be better than me. And she says, there aren't a lot of people better than me. I mean, that whole exchange just makes me cry whenever I see it. So that's my favorite moment.
Anthony, what about for you?
Yeah, I love those moments. I'll switch it up though. So all the moments where y'all didn't get to see too many of them, but where we were just hanging out as a cast, as a group, like we were playing wiffle ball, we were playing Uno. Some nights, me and Warren and Alex, we would go out and play chess and just have a drink and just chill and just get to know each other.
Are you still in touch with them?
As much as I can be from Nashville. Like we have a group chat, and then every time I come out here, I at least get together with at least one of them.
Like, I love that. How are what were some of the secrets of casting? Like, how did you pull this cast together? Did you start with Anthony and then build around him? Like, did you know who your hero was?
No, it's happening concurrently, actually. We're building our casts. We start building that before we found Anthony. Casting is one of the most fun parts to me and the most rewarding parts because as great it is to find Anthony and showcase him, the other joy as someone who's lived and worked in LA the last 20 years almost now, it's so great to me to find a cast of incredible, talented performers. And the whole point of our show is they have to be excellent. They have to be able to not break. They have to be so real that you will believe that they're real people. It's the ultimate acting exercise. But they can't be big and have popped yet. They have to be kind of unknown. And there's so much talent in a town like LA that doesn't always get the floor, doesn't get their chance to be seen. So it's a real joy to me to get to help put together the cast. And then they have to wait for a year while we edit it, and they can't talk about it. But to finally give them a showcase too, because I just think they're so incredible and so talented. What they do is so difficult; it doesn't even all show up in the episodes. And I just love that they get a showcase out of this as well.
Yeah, to Jake's point, like, it is really nice. Like, we've all been in casting situations where they're like, yeah, that guy's great, but can you get someone more famous? And we have the exact opposite conversations where it'll be like, he's really great, but I think he's been in too much TV. Like, we can't cast him. It's too high a risk. So it's really fun to have that kind of governor on who you're casting is like, you can only cast people who haven't broken in a way where you're worried that your hero may know who they are.
Sometimes we get excited about someone in casting and we're like, oh, they're in a national TV commercial that's running in every sports game.
Like Mark Sully.
Yeah. And then you go like, oh, maybe we can't cast them. You know what I mean? Or we have to work really hard around it. It gets tricky.
I'm sure. And certainly their lives are changing now.
Yes.
Talk about the directing challenge of this too, because it's certainly like not like directing any other project. There's no cutting. There's no like jumping in and intervening when something goes sideways. How do you navigate all of that, and how does it compare to other projects that you've worked on?
I came up in two kind of worlds. I kind of came up in the comedy world, but I also came up working in documentary for documentarians. And I had done some mockumentary work before. Andy Samberg and I have made some mockumentaries on HBO. And so I think that's why, and Dave Bernard produced those, which is how I know Dave. And so in a way, it's a combination of that to like know the format. But I also come out of the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater improv school. So I kind of know those performers in that world and how to improvise. So for me, it was kind of pulling on a lot of different things. And then it is like directing one giant live theater show that lasts a couple of weeks. So it's all in the prep, it's all in the rehearsals, and it's a giant kudos to the cast,
All right, Anthony, I'll let you have the final word. What's next for you? Where do you go from here? Are you going to save all of us? Are you going to save the world?
I'll definitely try to do my part. No, one thing that I really learned throughout this process was I hosted the talent show, and that was super fun for me. So that's a direction that I would like to go. Recently, I was lucky enough to be a part of the Thirst Gala, and they allowed me to interview some people on the teal carpet, and I was also blessed enough to present an award, and I really enjoyed that. So,
excellent. We look forward to seeing more of you. Congratulations to you guys on the show. Really well done.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you.